This is the Book Deal Podcast,
where you will discover the inspiring stories of the authors behind your favourite books.
No matter what stage of writing you are at, we've got you covered. I'm Tina Strong.
And I'm Madeline Cleary, and join us as we pull back the curtain of published authors.
One deal at a time.
The Book Deal Podcast acknowledges the traditional owners of the land and waters which it's recorded on, and pays respect to their elders past, present and emerging.
Hi, it's Tina here, and I'm very excited for this week's episode where I have the opportunity to speak with the lovely Sophie Beer. Sophie is prolifically published in the children's literature space with both her unique and quirky art and thoughtful, important storytelling. I really wanted to chat with Sophie to discuss the importance of inclusivity in writing, as this is something she's very passionate about and demonstrates in much of her work. We discussed her most recent book, a middle grade called Thunderhead, about an awkward, music-obsessed tween who feels they are a magnet for bad luck, especially when they are diagnosed with a genetic disorder that results in hearing loss. Because Thunderhead is a major music fan, just like Sophie is in real life, we also discuss the impact music can have on your life and on your writing. And the really cool thing about our chat, as we discussed her Thunderhead book, we both had actual real thunder in the background as a storm descended on both of our cities. It was pretty cool. I was going to edit it out until I realized the significance. I hope you enjoy my chat with Sophie and can take away some tips and advice on how to write inclusively in the right way. Sophie Beer, welcome to the Book Deal Podcast.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so delighted to be here.
Oh, I am very excited to have you here, and I've always admired your work, and I have so many questions to ask you about your journey, because it's been quite a big and eventful journey for you, hasn't it, to get to this point now?
Yeah. Like it's definitely been a few years in the making. So yeah, I'm excited to chat it all through, because I think this is the first time I've probably laid everything out and like actually examined it. So it'll be interesting.
Oh, goody. Yes. And your back catalogue is incredible. You've written and illustrated everything from board books to nonfiction to, picture books and now all the way up to middle grade with Thunderhead. And they've been translated into many different languages. I actually couldn't. There's so many that when I went to sort of have a little look and try and work it all out, I actually couldn't get to the bottom of it, how many you had. I was looking on Amazon Books at one point, and there was 10 pages of Sophie Beer, and I was like, I don't know where it starts and stops. And how many have you had published now of individual books?
Oh, I can't. I should really go through and count them all one day. It's upwards of 30. I know that, because I did count them a few years ago. But yeah, it's, that's combining like my author illustrated plus like the stuff I've just illustrated, and even just like smaller stuff that I just had a part in an anthology and stuff like that. So I've definitely had my hand in it for a while. So
yeah, no, it's awesome. What year was your first book published? Because this is also something that I tried to find and I couldn't.
So my first ever book was Wren, which was published by Scribble Books, the amazing Scribble Books from Melbourne, and written by Katrina Lehman, who is absolutely amazing. And I also illustrated her book, Izzy and Frank. And that came out in 2018, I think, or 2017.
Okay.
I can't quite remember. And I'm a bit fuzzy with the details on that, because like I'm sure we'll get into it later. But so when I was contracted to illustrate that book, I finished the roughs and I presented the roughs and was on to doing the final illustrations when I got diagnosed with my brain tumor. And so I had to take a year off work and recover and everything. So that kind of blew everything back. So it was meant to come out in 2015 or 16, but it ended up coming out in 2017 or 18. So that is like, that was actually my first book. But then I think my first ever published book was Love Makes a Family, which is a board book. It was published with Hardy Grant, and that was 2017 or 18 as well. I think it pipped Wren by just a few months.
Okay, yes, because I was sort of thinking 2017, 2018. That's not really that long ago, though. Is it?
Yeah, like I think that, but then I'm like, oh, that's almost 10 years.
It's like when people say that the 90s are like, how long ago
Yeah.
now? You're like,
10
oh,
years ago.
hang on. No, that was just, yeah, it's not that long ago.
Yeah,
Yeah, but still,
because I
like
yeah,
30 published books, though, in that time is
I
pretty
know, right?
incredible.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a workaholic. It's yeah, a bit bad. Like it's
But it is one of those industries that you do have to, roll with it when it comes in. You just have to take what you can get and grasp at everything. Do you think it's a bit like that?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very zeitgeisty, which is yeah, it's
Mm.
probably a reason that I probably work a bit more than I should. But I think having kids has kind of slowed that down a bit. Like I've been able to be a bit more choosy with my work because I'm only working part time at the moment, and kind of, like working as an illustrator, you have that like starving artist mentality. You're like, oh, I'm not really passionate about this project, but I'll take it on either anyway because it's going to pay the bills.
Hmm.
Whereas I feel like nowadays I can kind of be a bit more choosy and be like, well, I only work 3 days a week. I only have a limited amount of books I can schedule per year, so
Hmm.
I'm going to have to be a bit more choosy about projects and things like that. So I mean that's nice to be a bit choosier, but yeah, I guess it means you end up having less money.
Yeah.
So either be stressed or less
Yeah.
money.
But it is, yeah, I agree. When you have children, you time and the value of
Yeah.
time just becomes so very clear, doesn't it? Like
Oh, so
you
compressed.
have,
Yeah.
you're working around nap time and you're working around, school drop off and pick up, and you can
Yeah.
literally just say, okay, this is actually how many hours I have in a week to produce something, and times
Yeah.
that over the year, I can only do X amount of books or produce X amount of work. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
there just is
definitely.
no more time to give. It cannot come from anywhere else.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like I always say that to myself, and I'm like, I'm gonna cut down on the number of things I do, and then someone will come to me with a great project, and I'll be like, oh, I guess I'm gonna have to squeeze it in. And yeah, it's got to the point where my agent has been like, Sophie, stop. You need to you need to stop.
You just can't
Just
stop being so
yeah, calm,
successful.
calm your farm, calm it.
Oh, I know.
Which yeah,
Oh,
it's I mean, I wouldn't trade it off for anything in the world. Like I love my boy so much, but yeah, it does, particularly with women, it comes at the expense of being as productive with work. I recently started up at a studio, which has been really cool, in an effort to kind of separate my work and life balance a bit more. So I like, instead of working at home, because I've been a freelance illustrator for actually 10 years. Yeah, it would have
mm,
been 2015 I started, the end of 2015. And I've just worked at home for 10 years, and it got to the point where my youngest, my 1 year old, went to daycare, like, well, he's only been there 2 months,
mm,
and I was like, I can't stay at home by myself. I'm gonna go crazy. I need to I need to have more of like a work-life balance, like a separation. I can't just
mhm.
keep working in my office at home anymore. So yeah, I'm working in a studio with a whole heap of other illustrators and artists and things like that. And yeah, it's been really lovely. But yeah, it is definitely is very hard because that it puts more time pressure. Like you're like, I do the daycare drop off, then I have to travel all the way to the studio, and
Mhm,
then I have to travel from the studio to daycare drop off,
mhm.
and yeah, it compresses everything a lot. But I feel like I'm more focused that
I
way.
was
Like I'm
gonna
like,
say, are you more
yeah,
productive
yeah,
because you're not just
yeah,
going like, oh, and I'll just go pop a load of washing on and hang
yeah,
that out and then kind of get stuck, and yeah, and maybe
yeah,
working with other people as well. Do you find that social and just having those other
yeah. Oh,
creatives around?
yeah, definitely. My husband is a medical professional, like he's a brain researcher, and he talks a lot about how a risk for dementia with older people is lack of socialization.
Mm,
I
mm,
know.
I have heard
I always used to
that.
think of that, like
Mm.
when I was in my studio, well, in my studio at home working by myself, and I'm like, I haven't talked to anyone in like 2 days apart from my husband.
It
Being around
doesn't
other
count.
people, yeah, it doesn't count. It's nice. It's nice. Yeah, but yeah, it does compress your time a lot. But yeah, I have been a lot more choosy with my projects since having kids, and yeah, that's been really lovely because it means like I'm working on things I'm really passionate about, and working on books that I really believe in, which has been really lovely.
Yeah, it must be hard to say no though. Still, like,
Oh, it's
how
so
how do you
hard.
how do you do
Yeah.
that? I mean, it's a
Oh
problem we
man,
all
I
want, right?
just yeah, I think like for me, it also like going back to that starving artist mentality. Like whenever I turn down a job, I always think, well, maybe I won't get another job for a few months. So did I just turn down
Mm,
an opportunity to pay this huge bill that might happen?
mm,
Um, which is probably, you know, my anxious brain just being silly because like my husband works in medicine. He has an extremely stable job.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
the government is not going to pay him for, you know, his
Yeah.
research, but you know,
Yes. Oh, I don't think you have
yeah,
anything to
like
worry
precarity
about
of
jobs
yeah,
coming in. I think,
yeah.
I mean, for yourself, like, you know, if you're turning them down and with such your back catalogue and your portfolio, you
Oh,
know,
size actually just
going to
turned
be
out a
sought
really big
after.
job, and I felt so bad about it. I was just like, I just looked at my schedule. I was like, I legitimately can't do this. I'll just be too stressed, and I would rather
Yeah.
give the books that I'm working on at the moment
Mhm.
the attention they deserve instead of trying to be everywhere at once. So yeah.
Yeah, and probably the person who's offered it to you that you have turned down would prefer you to be open and honest in the first instance, then try and push through
Yeah,
and stress yourself and, you know, maybe not
yeah.
deliver or, you know, have to sort of push those delivery kind of deadlines and stuff like that to get it done. They, you know,
Oh, definitely.
probably
Yeah,
appreciate that
actually,
honesty.
yeah. I did the opposite of that when I was about to go on mat leave because I got the offer to illustrate the Taylor Swift book with
Hmm.
Penguin New York,
Hmm.
and I was talking to my agent. I was like, I legitimately can't turn this down. I love Taylor Swift. This is amazing. Like,
Yes.
when am I ever going to be offered this job again? So I,
I was going to
I,
ask you about them.
I
So
did,
that's
yeah.
the
Ah, yeah.
Little People Big Dreams books. Was
I
that
did
it?
Elton John for them, yeah, Little People Big Dreams.
Ah.
But this one is it's called Tiny Idols. It's like a little
Oh,
it's like more like
yes.
contemporary artist. Yeah, it's very
Yes.
cute. Yeah.
Yes. But I mean, even
Very cute.
Elton John for the Little People Big
Yeah.
Dreams.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just Taylor Swift though, was it, that you did?
No, no. So I did, yeah, I did Elton John for Little People Big Dreams, which was like a dream come true because I'm such a big Elton John fan. Like I legitimately like this sounds fake, but this
Mm.
actually happened. I got the email asking me to illustrate that book when I was on the way to an Elton John concert. Yeah. It was like
What?
spooky
That
synchronicity.
is
Yeah, it was
spooky.
yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
just read it thinking this is some kind of am I actually dreaming? Like is
I
this...
I screamed so loud in the car that people thought that like there was like a semi trailer oncoming into traffic towards us. Like it was, I was with my mother-in-law who was like the loveliest person in the world, but she's a bit like dithery and a bit like,
Oh,
oh, she was like,
stressing her out? Oh
yes.
no.
And then there was my sister-in-law who was like 9 months pregnant at that time, and she was like
Oh
pushing her
God.
belly, being like, I was like, it's all right, everyone. We're not in imminent
Oh,
danger of a traffic accident. I just got a really cool job offer.
oh, which deserved screaming though, really, didn't it?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's
Yeah, it was
incredible.
very fun. With the Taylor's in the Taylor Swift, the little not sorry, no, Little People Big Dreams. In
Right.
Tiny Idols, which is the line with Penguin Random House, there's Taylor Swift, Beyonce, Harry Styles, and I've just finished BTS, Billie Eilish, and I'm
Oh,
working on Ariana Grande. So yeah.
BTS, that's so cool.
BTS. There are 7 of them.
I only
It
oh
took
God.
me 7 times longer to illustrate.
I only found out about BTS because I have an 11-year-old. Oh, it was, you
Oh,
know, so
yeah.
um
Is he?
oh, it was this, it's just there was just one song I think that they used to play on repeat a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah.
I'll have to tell him about it. Um that's pretty cool because music is a big part of your life, isn't it?
Yes, a huge part. Yes. So I used to be a music reviewer back yonks ago,
Hmm.
in my late teens, early 20s. And I was just like the biggest music obsessive. Didn't play any instruments myself, didn't sing, couldn't, for Jack, but
Hmm.
uh just was obsessed with it. It's like when I think back on that time in my life, I think of music. And I actually met my now husband, uh, said brain expert on on a music forum, hilariously.
Wow.
Yeah, and then we met at a music gig.
Yeah.
So I
That's
my
very
my
cool.
two sons wouldn't exist if it weren't for my obsession with music, which
Hmm.
is kind of baffling to think about.
Hmm. Can I ask you, do you listen to music when you write or draw when you're illustrating?
When depends what I'm doing. I find it distracts me a bit too much if it's got like lyrics and stuff like that. I kind of just need silence when I'm writing because
Mm.
yeah, I get too distracted. But if I'm illustrating, like it depends on the level of complication, like complexity. Usually I'm listening to an audiobook or a podcast. If it's something I can just like kind of, tune my brain out and just like
Yeah.
just like coloring or something like that. But if it's something like if I'm drafting illustrations or I'm illustrating a picture book and I need to be doing like thumbnailing or sketching or something like that that involves a lot of brain power, I'll be listening to an album, yeah.
Yeah.
But not as much as I used to, which is a bit sad. Which I'm sure, yeah, we'll get into. But
Yeah.
I'm laying all these breadcrumbs down for your listeners. I'm intriguing them.
I know.
Keep listening. What's going to happen?
I like it. Love it. Stay tuned for more.
Stay tuned.
Oh, that's pretty exciting. I actually sometimes do and sometimes don't, like you said, with music. And I have been working on this one project recently, and I've never done this before. I'm going to sound crazy. People are going to be like, "Oh, she just has the weirdest writing style." I haven't never done this before, but it's sort of this book sort of takes place. There's a couple of chapters, probably the last half, where they're kind of in. Did you hear that thunder? There's a big storm here. Do you have a storm at yours?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah. It was, just came rolling in
here too. Yeah.
I was like, what is that?
It'll hit me in like a few minutes.
Sounds like we've got the same storm cell coming through.
Yeah.
So I'm writing this book at the moment. It's in sort of two different, like another world kind of at the end. It's not fantasy, but it's just like they're in a game kind of at the end. And I did this weird thing where I felt like whenever they were in that world, I had to be in a particular zone and a particular mind frame for it. So but because I kept wanting to progress it, I actually wrote the other chapters around it because I knew what was going to happen. Oh, it sounds really weird. I knew what was going to happen in those other world scenes. I knew how I was going to feel at the end of it. I knew what was going to happen in them. I just had to write them. So I could write the other in between chapters. So when I was writing the in another world chapters, I had to stream a particular kind of music and be in a particular kind of area where I could 100% focus. But it was like, if I turned it on, it was like a switch, and I could have written it without the music. Like I probably could have pushed through, but it certainly made a huge difference. As soon as I turned it on, it just like kind of got me in that space, and I couldn't have written it without it. Music's really powerful like that, isn't it?
Yeah. Like I've done so many writing courses where the mentor will say something like, if you're stuck on a particular scene, put on a song that matches or gives you that same emotion that you're trying to elicit in the reader, which I've never actually tried to do that. Like I said, I prefer silence when I'm writing, but that doesn't surprise me because music kind of taps into that like limbic system in your brain where it's like almost lizard brain, like it's on another plane of reality. It's not really connected to surface emotions. It's something deeper. So yeah, it's funny how your mind has kind of associated that with that particular scene you were writing, and you're like, this is the part of my brain that needs to be writing in charge when I'm writing this bit. It's cool.
If it ever sees the light of day, hopefully it does. This book that I'm working on at the moment,
fingers crossed.
I think you'll see why if you read it. You'll be like, I can see that. But I have playlists cool. as well. Yeah. Thunder. It was really loud. I have playlists as well that I create sometimes for books, even if I haven't quite written them yet. And I've done that for years. And sometimes I'll listen to them. And sometimes I'll listen to them when I'm driving. I've had to do lots of Brisbane trips lately, and it's 2 hours each way at the moment, and it's just horrifying. But anyway, it does give me a good chance to listen to that music, and honestly, it just plays out scenes in my head so clearly, and then all I have to do is write it down. Simple. As simple as that.
I think it's because it's kind of like music can be this sort of like little snippet of emotion, stuffed into a word file, sound file.
Yeah.
And it kind of accessing those emotions is so easy when you just press play and it's automatically there. There are so many times that I've had a song associated with a particular feeling, or like when you get the goosebumps on your arms, you listen to the song and you can always access that feeling just by pressing play. It's
100%.
You always get the goosebumps, or you always feel that particular emotion, and it's so cool. But I love that idea of like forming worlds around playlists. That's really cool. I might try that.
I've heard that some people have some authors have like Spotify lists that they tell their readers about if they want to sort of delve into it a little bit more.
That's lovely.
But,
like a
soundtrack.
Film scores. Yes.
Yeah. It's like a soundtrack. And I think because I see movies, I see books and my stories in my head like a movie as well. It just sounds like a backing list for it. It's pretty cool. Fun. Yeah. But in your middle grade book that you've just released, Thunderhead.
Yay.
Yeah. It's been out for a couple of months now, hasn't it?
Yeah, since late October. last year.
Okay, yeah.
So October 2024. Yeah.
So Thunderhead, the character in your book, and the whole book. Ooh, there's your thunder. See?
That's my thunder. Yeah. Whoa.
It's loud.
Thunderhead.
Oh my
It's all coming
God.
together. I actually arranged this with the
You
thunder
are
gods.
so
Yeah.
good. I was going to cut the
I was
thunder
like,
out, but now I'm like, no, I'm keeping this thunder in.
it's cinematic.
This is perfect.
It's our
Like, I even-
soundtrack.
Thunderhead. And it's so funny when I saw you at the Right Links, the book links, Romancing the Stars the other week. And I was like, I didn't bring my copy. I wanted you to sign it for me. And then I realized I actually bought a signed copy anyway when I bought it from the
Oh,
from
that's
the
so
shop.
lovely. Oh, which
Yeah.
bookshop was that?
Uh, uh, I always say this wrong. Kinokuniya?
Oh, Kino. Yes, I just say Kino.
Kino.
Yeah, I'm not a Sydney person, so yeah. Oh, that's so lovely.
Is it?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so nice. Yeah,
I'm not a Sydney person either, hence why we don't know how to say it. They say it
yeah.
perfectly. Just like Kinu.
I get out of the way by saying Kino. Yeah,
Kinu. Yeah, I like that. Oh, and an incredible shop. Like I
Oh
went
my
there
gosh,
2 days
it's
in a
absolute-
row. It was
oh.
amazing.
It's like heaven, isn't it? It's got
It
a cafe
is.
attached, so it's just like you get your coffee, just wander around, get lost in the
Yes.
book maze. It's beautiful.
I'm
Yeah,
just loving
but-
this. Sorry, I'm just loving this thunder happening in the background as we're talking about Thunderhead, your middle grade
So
book that came out in
atmospheric.
October last year. And Thunderhead is almost as obsessed with music as you are. So there's a little bit
Yes.
a lot of you in this book, isn't there?
Yeah, I kind of I mean, I feel like I'm pretty dissimilar to the actual character of Thunderhead, which I did purposefully because I was like, I don't want my mum or someone reading this book and being like, Sophie just put herself in a book. So I distinctly tried to separate myself from the character. And then my mum read the book and was like, it was just you, Sophie. And I was like, damn it.
I know. Yeah. I don't think you can get away with it. I've thought
Yeah.
about that before. It's very hard to write a character that's kind of not you. Like I've had that question as
Yeah.
well. Is your
Yeah.
character actually you? And I'm like, I
Yeah.
tried not to, but
Try not to, yeah. I mean, I guess it's idiosyncrasies,
Yeah.
say that word. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They kind of just bleed through, like characteristics and traits bleed through from yourself into your writing, and it's just
without even
not
knowing it.
avoidable. Yeah,
Mhm,
unavoidable.
mhm.
But yeah, so Thunderhead is absolutely obsessed with music, but like more than I was, I would say, which is saying something because
Mm,
I was very obsessed.
mhm,
But
mhm.
music is like what they live and breathe, and
Yeah.
that's their reason for living. And then they go on a journey because they conflict.
Yeah.
They find out that they have a genetic disease, which means that they're going to be going deaf. So yeah, that's the crux of the book.
Yeah.
Which is yeah, a bit sad, but it's a funny book. I swear, it's funny. I hope
It is funny. It is. It's really. I know. So you have to have that conflict in there, obviously, for
Yeah.
to make the book work. But of course, it's how you sort of encapsulate it, sort of everything else around it, and create the world around it, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I think like that the humor of the book really came from because I myself dealt with the same brain tumor that Thunderhead in the main character of the book has. I don't have the genetic disease that Thunderhead has, but I had like the same tumor that they have. So like, and when I went through that was 2016, 2017. When I went through that experience, I just found the whole thing funny. Like it was horrifying and
Yeah.
really sad, but like there was just this undercurrent of like dark humor to it all because it was
Mhm.
like, of course, the person who is absolutely obsessed with music is going to become hard of hearing. The
Mhm,
person who met
mhm.
their husband on a music forum is going to lose their hearing. Like it was just
Yeah.
kind of like a bit like funny and ironic, and it was I just saw the humor in it, and I think that's where that kind of
Yeah.
that gallows humor, black humor,
Yeah.
kind of came through that way.
Hello, I'm Karen Wasson, member of the 2025 debut crew and author of Inked, a middle grade graphic novel from Hardy Grant's brand new imprint Figment. With brilliant illustrations by Jake A. Minton, Inked is the story of Sid Kraken, a 12-year-old boy who just wants to avoid the bullies, keep his head down, and get through his final year at primary school. But Sid's life is turned entirely upside down when he discovers Otto, a talking and opera-singing octopus in his family's fish shop. Otto is obnoxious, demanding, and won't leave Sid alone until he helps him get to the ocean, roughly 300 kilometres away. Plus, Sid has bigger fish to fry. He has to figure out how to get into the art school of his dreams, or else high school next year will be a nightmare. Can Sid and Otto find a way to work together, or will it all end in full-blown disaster? Filled with slapstick humour and heart, Inked is a story about blending in and standing out, and is available now in all good bookstores and libraries. I hope you enjoy this small-town, big-time adventure, and a huge thank you to the Book Deal podcast for this wonderful opportunity to share.
One of the main reasons why I wanted to chat to you today as well about, Thunderhead, and it was such a wonderful story, and the way that you that Thunderhead sort of worked through everything, and very much for that age group, because she's 12 turning 13.
Yes, 12
Yeah.
2013. Yeah.
Yeah, so her reactions and everything to it is exactly what kids would go through as well, but it all works out in the end. Spoiler alert,
Yeah.
but without giving too
Spoiler
much
alert.
away. It was really, it was just spoke to a lot of resilience in children, and acceptance as well, I think.
Yeah. That was there's definitely like a lot of emotions that they work through, but I think like with something like a genetic disorder, there's no way. I mean, you can have a happy ending in that you have that like radical acceptance that that is going to be your life now. And like I speak from a place of experience because I have a genetic condition, but it's not the same one as Thunderhead has. It was a different one, which was actually what inspired me to sit down and write the novel, because I had this idea floating around my head for a few years after I had the tumor. I was like, this would have been so much worse if I was like in that like 12, 13, 14-year-old kind of stage of life where you tie your identity to whatever band you're in love with. And music was so integral like to who I was around that time. Like your favorite band would be like who you were that week.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was a really big Good Charlotte fan when I was that age. And that was how I was
Who
known at
wasn't?
school. I was like, yeah, right, exactly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, it was Sophie the Good Charlotte fan. It was,
Oh,
yeah, that was me.
that's
So
cute.
yeah, I thought like it was kind of like a ripe idea for a novel, I guess, to have someone around that age who was invested their identity so much in music to have to go through like this life-changing experience with hearing loss, but then also having the genetic condition on top. Yeah, it's just like a lot of emotions to work through, which is I definitely tried to imbue a lot of hope into it, because I strongly believe that if there's one thing that children's authors can do is give kids hope. Like it's our imperative to handle stories of young people with a sense of hope and a sense of hope for the future. So like I take that very seriously. And I didn't really want to write a sad book. I didn't want it to be sad. I wanted it to be like funny, but also life affirming.
Yeah, and I think Thunderhead comes across as really strong. You've written a really strong character. So and her friend group as well is pretty incredible. It's always,
they're the best.
Yeah. So I'm actually a little bit selfish, I have to say, in that even just creating this whole podcast with Madeline Cleary, my co-host, we always say like this is basically just us doing research for ourselves, and it's like we have all these questions that we want to ask other authors, and we love hearing author stories about how they got to their journeys to publication. So why don't we just ask them, but we'll record it and share it with everybody else. But I feel very fortunate that I can pin you down and be like, can you I really wanted to talk to you about writing characters with medical conditions, diverse characters, characters with disabilities, because because I need to know more myself. It's something that I want to know more about, and I'm sure there's lots of other listeners who do as well. And I know it's important to you. It's something that you feel very strongly about, and I know there's some really wrong ways of doing it.
Oh yeah.
So and there's some really right ways, but can we talk about some of the wrong ways too? What are the absolute no-nos?
I think it was the disability activist Stella Young who came up with the idea of inspiration porn. which is like having a disabled character just to be like your inspiration, just to be inspirational to all the other non-disabled people around them. Which is like, it was something I cognitively understood, but then when I became hard of hearing myself, I really understood it. It was it was really foundational to me, because just being this object of not pity, but like inspiration, like that's all someone's entire life story can be whittled down to, is just being inspirational for other people. So I really like three-dimensional representations of disabled kids and disabled characters, people who aren't completely inspirational porny. They're not just like these virtuous paragons of loveliness and acceptingness and martyrdom, and they can do no wrong, they're just just sweetie, and they're disabled. They just to be there inspirational for other people. That's a really wrong way to have a disabled character. Like, if you're going to have a disabled character in your writing, make them a 3D human, make them have flaws, negatives. Like, you don't need to handle them with like kid gloves just because they're disabled, because they're in person in their own right, and they deserve all the flaws and all the complexity that comes with writing a non-disabled character. So I guess getting rid of that otherness, like acknowledging that disability is an otherness in itself, but being proud of that otherness, and being being able to give that character the whole breadth that you would to a non-disabled character. I definitely have picked that up so many times in books since I became hard of hearing. I've picked that up a lot in books that I've read, which if there's a disabled character that really sings to me, it's because they're either like they're troubled, or they're just drawn in a really realistic way that I find really beautiful. Like, the book that really got me to thinking about writing my own book about hearing loss was Your Welcome Universe by Whitney Garner, which is an American book, but it's about a girl who is deaf, and she's a graffiti artist, and I've got to say, like, not a nice person. Like, she's a really difficult person. And I loved that. I loved that she had so much, depth to her, and darkness as well as light. And it kind of made me revise my main character in Thunderhead a lot, because Thunderhead has a lot of lessons to learn about being a nice person and making friends.
Well, we have to learn these skills sometimes, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So a right way of doing it, and doing it respectfully, is they're a character because they're a person, and they have a disability or something else, like, but that's not them.
100%.
They're just not this one thing. Yeah.
Disability doesn't define you. It's a facet of you, and it just makes you live in a more creative and different way than other people. It doesn't mean that you're a lesser person or just there for inspiration. It's just part of you, because you're a fully formed human, regardless. So yeah.
And so as someone or an author who doesn't have a disability, who doesn't come from a diverse background, what are some steps that they could take to still try and be inclusive and include characters with meaning, and how do they do that well, and sort of check it if that makes sense? Like, how can I write a character, say, that's hard of hearing, when I'm not hard of hearing myself? What steps could I take to make sure that I'm doing everything right? And
I think the number one thing I would say would be like incidental inclusivity. So just having a character that's hard of hearing, even if they're just a secondary character, a peripheral character, something like that, include it and don't make it a big deal. So I absolutely love it when I'm reading a book and it'll just be like, oh, this character is, has this disability. It doesn't define them. It's just, it's a facet of their personality, or their who they are, but it's, it doesn't define them. Like, I really love that, because it just makes it more widely acceptable, that, or not acceptable. It makes it more common. Seeing yourself in print is just one of the most beautiful things in the world, and having more of that can never be a bad thing. But I think like also doing that in a well-researched way, like if you're not confident in your ability to write a disabled character, you can have them as a secondary character, but I guess be mindful also of not just including someone just, like for brownie points, being like, oh yes, here's this here's this
Tick the
character over here.
box. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
exactly.
included
Yeah.
diverse
Yeah,
characters.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just do some research, try to read up on that disability that your character might have. Talk to someone with that disability, because disabled people aren't like horrified when someone wants to talk to them about their disability. They'll probably be more than happy to talk about it, because it's them, and it's a part of their life, and they would like to share their life with people. So yeah, that's always a thing to do, is just chat to someone with it, or like informing yourself about the disability that your character might have. And I chatted to a lot of people who had the genetic illness that Thunderhead does in my book, because I don't have it myself, so I wanted to be really informed about it. So I read a book of personal essays of people who had the diagnosis. I talked to a lot of them in forums and things like that. I met one guy who so I don't know if I need to should say his name and so on, because I actually used it in the book, and then my editor was like, maybe you should take it out because he might not want that, want everyone knowing. So,
or maybe he would.
maybe he would. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And yeah, and then there was also my own experience having a genetic illness as well, but not the same one, but similar. And so just drawing on all that mishmash of research and my own experience, and that was how I wrote the character of Thunderhead. But yeah, I think just being informed and being willing to chat to disabled people and hear their points of view, and also I guess leaving space for disabled to be able to write their own points of view too, because there is a lot of talk about whether non-disabled writers should write disabled characters in a main point of view, because is that disabled writers, is that their purview, and that should be their right to express their own stories, because like the book Wonder by R.J. Palacio, which Thunderhead has been compared to a lot, which I didn't actually think of until it was published.
Yeah, that's a
yeah.
compliment.
So,
yeah,
I know. Yeah, it's very nice. It's a nice book. So the author R.J. Palacio doesn't have Treacher Collins syndrome, which is what the main character in Wonder has. But then, I mean, that ended up being such a beautiful book and inspiring so many people, and creating a whole movement of kindness and acceptance and inclusivity. So yeah, I guess it's just treating your subject as a full person, and just being mindful and sensitive, because I think that's exactly what RJ Palacio did with Wanda, and why it became such a bestseller was that Augie, the main character, is a fully rounded person with his own dreams and desires and insecurities, and it's just really beautiful to see.
And you can, I like how you said forums, because I have come across forums, before with that sort of thing. So that's for anyone that's listening. You can, and you're interested, and you're looking up, for trying to find some information on particular, disabilities or even diversity for people with different kinds of backgrounds. There are quite a lot of forums out there that you can jump on, and lots of people who are wanting to help and make sure that you're getting the right information. And you can also hire sensitivity readers.
Sensitivity readers, yes, I was going to say that. I forgot. Yeah, thank you. Sensitivity readers as well. That's a really good one. Which is, so you pay someone an amount of money to read the book and give feedback to how you handled a particular minority or a particular disability or something like that in the book. And it's just a really good way to kind of screen it pre-submission or pre-publication, to make sure that you are not you've handled everything sensitively and in a way that's not going to completely offend people or be really horrible. So I actually had my editor for Thunderhead, the amazing Nicola Santilli. They actually pulled me up a few times in the book and were like, you probably shouldn't use this word here, which it's not you know, has like
Mm.
different connotations and stuff like that,
Yeah.
which I hadn't considered, but they sort of kind of
Mhm.
pulled me up on that, which was really nice. And there was a particular instance towards the end of the book in which Thunderhead gets called a freak. And I didn't actually know it, but that's a derogatory term for someone with a disability. As well, I mean, everyone knows that. But
Mm.
you know,
Spec-
being able to read that sensitively from a different point of view, like I, as even as a hard of hearing person, I would never would have considered being really offended by that. But
Mhm.
Nicola was like, no, we can't let this name, let Thunderhead be called this name, and then nobody kind of react to it, or nobody say, hey, that's not on.
Mhm.
Which I thought was a really brilliant and astute thing to say. Nicola is amazing.
Publishers do know, don't they? And that, but I
Yeah,
think they're very heightened to it, aren't they? I've had
yeah,
things as
definitely.
well picked up, and just yeah, when they've pointed it out to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was actually not anywhere near what I was thinking or meaning to do.
Yeah,
Thank
exactly.
goodness
Yeah,
that you picked that up.
yeah,
And
yeah,
they're just, I think they're very heightened to it, aren't they? With
yeah,
they're just, making sure that, everything's inclusive. And I'm sure they've, learnt from mistakes in the past or other
yeah.
people's mistakes,
Other
because
people's mistakes.
when
Yeah,
someone gets it wrong, everyone knows about it. It's quite big, isn't it?
yeah.
So they just don't want
Which
to
is
be in that
exactly what
boat.
sensitivity readers do.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a really nice way if you're writing a difficult character who has a point of view that you haven't lived yourself, you don't have experiential
Mm,
experience with, you can
mm,
just hire someone with experience in that background and get their say on your manuscript, which is really really really
mhm.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah, because we were, but one person writing this book, unless you're co-authoring, I suppose. But, the real world includes all these, it is so diverse. There's so many different nationalities and cultures and abilities that make up our world. So you have to
Mm,
write them. I like,
yeah.
because and I'm sort of saying it's not, I'm just cautious of when I do that, because I need to include um all those characters in my book, but then I'm also equally as cautious of writing the wrong thing. I don't want to do the wrong
Yeah.
thing, but they must be
Yeah.
included. And yeah, I guess it's just treading lightly. I had sensitivity readers even for the Wilder Zoo series, because two of the main
Oh.
characters are, one has an Indian background, and one has a Japanese background. And, I sort of asked friends and people who had that background, and also hired a sensitivity reader as well, because I was so like, I just wanted to just check off on a few
Yeah.
different, and all of it was so fine. Like, it's very, it was very lightly, added, but it's just, I think, nice, and a little bit of peace of mind. And they also gave me some really good suggestions too, to make it a bit more
Mm.
authentic, which I didn't really think about, and also pointed out a couple of things that weren't particularly offensive, but just, oh no, we probably would do it this way or say it this way. And
Yeah.
that was nice, because you want to make sure you're doing the right thing, but
Yeah,
still
that's what's
include
great
them.
about sensitivity readers. Yeah, it's
Hmm.
yeah, it's sort of like hacking into someone's brain and just
Yes,
taking
yes.
their experience and the knowledge, and yeah, it's really beautiful.
Yep, yep. And you can get them for everything, can't you? Just about.
Mm.
There's some companies that you can go through that just, yeah, every nationality, every culture, every background, every, yeah, even, people that have experienced trauma in the past. You can, hire sensitivity readers to even discuss anything along those lines as well. So,
Mm.
yeah, even just ask questions. They don't even have to read the book. You can just ask them questions even. So that's a
Yeah,
good
I think
job.
also like people might be afraid of writing the wrong thing or saying the wrong thing in a book, but in my mind, as someone who like I don't particularly like. Oh, I mean, oh, such a weird subject to talk about, because like I am hard of hearing, but I don't identify as disabled. Um, but in certain circumstances I could be
Mhm.
have that identity. So it's something that is really close to my heart though. But also I would much rather someone try and fail or try and get feedback than someone exclude a disabled character.
Mhm.
Um, I think the more disabled characters are put into books, and the more it's normalized, and the more it's accepted, and the more that disabled people are seen as 3D humans, Well, that's what we are. That's the better it is, and the more richer the world will be for it.
That's perfect. That's a perfect ending to our interview, actually,
Mm-hmm.
Sophie. I think that's a great point to end on. Thank you for sharing all that information. I think it's
No
really
worries.
important. It's a really important conversation to have. But before we go, do you have one top tip for our listeners? You know, we have lots of aspiring writers that are listening, but also you know, lots of established writers as well, because you know, all our stories that we share on here and all the people we interview just have just wealths of knowledge that have is wealth a word? Wealths of knowledge.
We'll say it is now.
Do I just make something up?
It's a new word.
They are a wealth of knowledge and have so much important information to share. But so do you have, you know, a golden tip for everybody who are trying to be published and or are trying to you know, about including diverse characters in their books?
I guess yeah, including inclusion and trying, even if you don't think it's going to be perfect, is my biggest tip. Because if you don't try, then you know that character won't be there for people to fall in love with and to see themselves in and to be appreciated. So yeah, it's always worth trying.
I love that. Thank you, Sophie. Thanks so much for
No
coming on the
worries.
Book Deal podcast. It was so lovely to talk to you.
So lovely to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Book Deal podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the pod so you can receive updates as soon as our new eps drop. And to keep up to date with what the pod is doing, you can also find us on Instagram.